Namaste students. Today we are going to learn about chapter 6 in history, town traders and craft persons. A medieval town may be a temple town, administrative center, commercial town or port town. Many towns had combined characteristics of all the above types of towns. For example, many towns were administrative centers, commercial and craft production centers as well as temple towns all at the same time. Moreover, some big towns and cities were famous for more than one of those things. Let's see administrative centers in towns. Tanjavur was the capital of the Cholas. It was an administrative town. This is situated on the banks of Kaveri. Raja Rajeshwara temple built by Rajaraja Chola is in this town. Kunjaramallan Rajaraja was the architect of this temple. Apart from the temple, palaces with mandapas are present in this town. The kings held court in these mandapas. Barracks for the army were also present in the town. Let's see what were the important aspects of the town. There were bustling markets selling grain, spices, cloth, and jewelries. Wells and tanks provided water supply to the town. The Salya weavers of Tanjavur and Urayur made cloths. Fine cottons were made for the king and nobility, and coarse cottons were made for the masses. These cloths were also used for making flags to be used in temple festivals. The sculptors or stapatis at Swami Malai used to make exquisite bronze idols and tall ornamental bell lamps. Temple towns. Tanjavur was also a temple town. Temples used to be the hub of economy and society. Tanjavur, situated on the banks of river Kaveri in Tamil Nadu, was the capital of the Chola dynasty 1,000 years ago. It was a busy commercial town with markets for grains, spices, cloth, and jewelry. And water was supplied to its people and visitors from big wells and tanks. Its architecture included different temples and palaces with mandabas that were used by kings to hold courts and carry out their administrative affairs. But they were also used as prayer halls, and some even housed religious dancing and music concerts. So, Tanjavur is also an example of a temple town where urbanization happened as temples became central to society and economy. Sources of money for temples. Rulers used to build temples to demonstrate their devotion. Additionally, they also endowed the temples with grant of land and money for rituals, feeding pilgrims and priests, and festivities. Donations were also made by pilgrims. Use of money by temples. Temples used their money to finance trade and banking. Gradually, many priests, artisans, workers, traders, etc., settled near the temple to cater to the needs of the temple as well as pilgrims. This is how temple towns grew. Some of the important temple towns which developed in this period are Bilaswamin in Madhya Pradesh, Somnath in Gujarat, Kanjipuram and Madurai in Tamil Nadu, and Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. Tiruvannamalai in Tamil Nadu and Vrindavan in Uttar Pradesh are examples of pilgrimage centers which developed as a town. The city of Ajmer. It was a city in Rajasthan and the capital of the Chauhan kings in the 12th century. It later became the Suba headquarters of the Mughals. It was a perfect example of religious harmony and coexistence. Khwaja Moinuddin Chishti was a celebrated Sufi saint, attracted devotees from all creeds. He settled in Ajmer in 12th century. The Pushkar Lake near Ajmer has attracted pilgrims since ancient times. Let's learn about the traders. There were different kinds of traders in the medieval times, including the Banjaras, that means nomadic people. And traders who traveled a lot came together to form traders associations. the most famous ones being Manigramam and Nanadesi. They did this to protect their interest both within the Indian subcontinent and in Southeast Asia and China. The largest Indian trading groups were the Chettiars and Marwari Oswal and Gujarati traders such as Hindu Banias and Muslim Bohras. There was extensive trade with the ports of the Red Sea, the Persian Gulf, East Africa, Southeast Asia, and China. Indian spices and cloth were exported, and gold, ivory, spices, tin, Chinese blue pottery, and silver were imported. Many of these products also reached European markets, and this attracted European traders to India. Their arrival once again changed the structure of trading and towns in India. Network of small towns. There were several small towns in the subcontinent from 8th century. Probably large villages got transformed into small towns. Their market was called Mandapika, called Mandi in later times, where people came to sell their produce. Market streets called Hatta also existed during this period, which had lines of shops, different kinds of artisans such as potters, oil pressers, sugar makers, toddy makers, smiths, stonemasons, etc. at different streets. Some traders lived in towns, but some of them traveled from one town to another. Many people came from faraway places to buy local articles and sell products of distant places like salt, camphor, horses, saffron, betel nut, and spices like pepper. Role of Jamindars in towns. Fortified palaces were built by a Samanta or a Zamindar in or near these towns. They also levied taxes on traders, artisans, and articles of trade. They sometimes delegated the right to collect taxes to local temples which were built by them or rich merchants. Even today, there are inscriptions that have these rights recorded. Big and small traders. Many types of traders were present during the period. Many traders, especially horse traders, formed associations with headmen who negotiated their horse sale with warriors who bought horses. Traders who had to travel long distances, passing through many kingdoms and forests, traveled in caravans and formed guilds to protect their interests. From the 8th century onwards, there were many guilds in South India. The most famous among these were Manigramam and Nandesi. These guilds traded extensively within the peninsula and also with Southeast Asia and China. The Banjaras were also included in traders. Other trading communities were Chettiars, Marwari Oswal, and Gujarati traders. The Marwari Oswal became the principal trading group of India in due course of time. The Gujarati traders included the communities of Hindu Banias and Muslim Bohras. The Gujarati traders traded extensively with the ports of the Red Sea, Persian Gulf, China, East Africa, and Southeast Asia. They sold textiles and spices in the above ports and bought gold and ivory from Africa and spices, tin, Chinese blue pottery, and silver from Southeast Asia and China. The Arab, Persian, Chinese, Jewish, and Syrian Christians were settled in the towns in the west coast. Indian spices and cloth sold in the Red Sea ports and purchased by Italian traders eventually reached European markets. These fetched very high profits. European cuisines included spices grown in tropical climates as their integral part. The cotton cloth was also very attractive. The acceptance and extensive use of spices and cotton cloths by the people of that place drew European traders to India.